Okay, here we go then. It's In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post. I'm Ross Brierley, and it is Grand National Eve. The spring is very much here. The sun is out. It's been a beautiful 2 days up in Liverpool, so hopefully we're going to get a straight, clean fight between all the declarations in the big race tomorrow, and hopefully we might get as an impressive winner as we did last year with Iron Maximus. We might get the same impressive winner with Iron Maximus, of course, who's not been quite the same horse this year, but surely campaigned with this race in mind. He's not got it all his own way, though. He's got plenty of rivals, most of them wearing the same silks as him, so it could well be another big day for JP McManus. It was, of course, today over the national fences, as Gentleman to Me came from nowhere for that man Mullins to break a few hearts, a few on the panel tonight as well, in the Topham. It was an eventful day up and down the card, though, and after the Mullins domination yesterday, your Hendersons, your Skeltons, your Nichols, were all on the score sheet. Jamie Snowden popping up with his first Grade 1 winner as well as a trainer, so spoils spread around a little bit more today, and certainly some impressive finishers and some unlucky losers, certainly some short price in running losers, that's for sure. Anyway, let's see what you've got to say on the chat, because as ever we are live and interactive, so let us know what you think about tomorrow's card. In the chat, hello to Rob Dixon, to Dale Grimble, to Mark Souther, to Paul Stokes, to Martin Williamson, and to plenty more besides. What else have we got? Mark Souther had a bit of Gentleman de May. Dean Partridge says, evening Ross, great shows this week, loving the stats as well, good to digest. Robert Ballard says, Tom Leach, told you Salvatore Mundi would win. Yeah, they got the engine sorted this time around, didn't they? And as for the rest, Scotty Rudderham, first one in, Beauport wins the lot in capital letters with 10 exclamation marks. Lovely stuff. Right, okay. We've got a whole card to get through, and the big race, of course, as well. We will be focusing on the national. But first, let's introduce the panel with returning Mr. Robbie Wilders.
Hi, Ross. A bit cold in here tonight, though, isn't it?
I mean, it's certainly in comparison to the beautiful spring sunshine outside.
We were out on the deck and chilling earlier, weren't we?
It's lovely out there, isn't it?
Yeah, hottest day of the year tomorrow as well. So
is it really?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, big email into our Racing Post email address, sort of press release.
I'm not sure we really need that on National Day, to be fair.
Don't we?
Well, I'm
all for it, mate. What's the national in the back garden? Oh, the horses, yeah. But hottest day of the year, still the start of March. What's it going to be? 19 degrees?
Yeah, true. Yeah,
It's not going to be like Marbella, is it?
Sadly
not.
Probably not. But hopefully there'll be lots of buckets of water on hand for both the horses and punters. Who, I tell you what, it's a long way home at Aintree, isn't it?
Just a bit, mate. Yeah.
That home straight.
Our very good friend in Reading, I felt for him in that Topham, I'll tell you.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get to him in a second.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. I mean, it's been a day of frustrations, really.
Yeah.
Certainly from me, from you as well, would you say? I know there was one from you at Southall off there.
Well, I mean, there was also the 8 runners down to 7 in the first, knocking me out of the play spot. There was Slugger in the last.
Slugger.
Slugger.
He runs some race.
on the bridle before. Some horse that's only been seen once in 2 years at Cartmel. She's a saint, comes from God knows where.
Yeah, that's crazy. Celtic Dino, I was on him at 7-1 for that. Did you see that incident at the start where like 2 horses went down? He almost got wiped out, Celtic Dino. I thought he ran well. But
it was eventful.
This is what you sign up for these big meetings. It's why we love it. And it's sometimes you're on the right end. A lot of the time you're getting on the wrong end, but you just got to get on with it.
Exactly that, which is pretty much what you said, Tom, when I WhatsApped you earlier on after the finish of the Topham, just to see if you, I don't know, maybe barking at the sky, running into oncoming traffic, maybe pulling the duvet up over your head. I don't know.
Nah, it's the way it goes, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just what it is. It's a bit annoying when you don't get any chance to back 50-1 winners, and so when they're hampered by the one horse that fell in a 30-runner field, listen, I don't know if you'd have won or not, but it'd be nice for that not to have happened. That's the way it goes, isn't it? Yeah. You just need a bit of luck in this game. Look, there's people out there who back Golden Ace to win the Champion Hurdle, isn't there? And that's the luckiest winner you'll ever have. And there's some, but it's just the way it goes. If you'd have won, a State Man was unluckier than Lisnham or that, wasn't he? And that's the way. That's the sport, isn't it? You take been in it long enough to know that that's what happens. So frustrating, but we move on.
Yeah, you take the rough with the smooth. Let's rattle through very quickly thoughts on today. I mean, Colwell Potter. I tell you what, if Regent Stroll wins tomorrow, we're gonna have to. There's gonna be some people who are eating humble pie on those that dispersal sale, aren't they, Tom?
Yeah. Well, it was a different one, wasn't it? It wasn't the same Caldwell Potter sale. It was the Chris Giles one, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, of course it was. Yeah. There was two expensive dispersal sales that everyone was knocking. So, but Colwell Potter, it was Colwell Potter was the most Paul Nicholls of all. That's an archetypal Nicholls winner today, that wasn't it?
It was. I mean, I was sitting here, and I know I was sort of half tongue-in-cheek having a go at the Mullins domination yesterday, but I thought we should have won the first 5 races. Because I thought Dancing City was absolutely tanking when he came down. He'd never touched a twig. And he brought down his stablemate. Then how Kopek Demey didn't win the second is sort of anyone's guess. And El Fabiolo, I think the way the race was going, I know Robbie had a few quid on him. I know he's a lummox of the highest order, but I don't know. I thought the way they finished and the way the race was going, he might have won too. So he could have had the first 5. Beaten yesterday's, but there we go. That's racing, isn't it? I mean, as you say, you can't be worried about getting beaten on the line in the top, and when you've been fallen and brought down and all those sort of things, they're the ones that hurt more because you don't know what would have happened.
Yeah, but like I said, Nicholls, John Joe O'Neill, Dan Skelton, Nicky Henderson, Jamie Snowden.
I have to say, when you said the Snowden Grade 1 thing, I hadn't heard that. That seems crazy that he's never won before. But yeah, impressive. Many more to come from Snowden as one of the better trainers, aren't there?
Well, I feel, again, I have a theory about trainers. I mean, I have a theory about most things, to be fair, in particular, that no matter what you're doing, you're only really good at it after 10 years. You do it for 10 years.
10 years. Snowden been on the scene that long?
Just slightly over, I think.
Well, unless you're James Owen. To be fair, he was training Arabian.
Well, that's what I mean. He's done point to point.
So when trainers start really well, then they're going to be, like your Harry Durhams, etc.
George Bowie. I mean, what's going to be like in a few years?
Training Classic went out like 3 years after starting training, didn't it?
Yeah. I do have a thing. I bet on the flat you've got your Charlie Hills, for example. I don't know. I think with anything, even no matter how you start, there's so many lessons you have to learn along the way with anything that you're doing. This is complex.
I get the take. I mean, to a certain extent, the job I'm doing as well. I'm still learning from you, Tom Segals and your Paul Keelys and the various other gentlemen. So yeah, let's go.
Don't get any easier, Rob. Don't get any easier. I'm going to assure you. The thing about racing is it's always evolving. It's always moving. Look at the national.
Mm-hmm.
When 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you wouldn't have been going around saying that one horse is going to fall in the top of and that one unseated. You're not going to say that, that's just everything changes all the time. And the ground is different, the starts are different, everything's different. So you just got to keep adapting, keep on evolving,
Absolutely.
And you get good runs and you get bad runs and you just carry on.
Absolutely. Right, let's wrap up a few more things. First off, Robbie, learning from Keels, learning from Segal. Didn't mention me,
actually,
that's fine. No, it's fine. No, absolutely fine. Absolutely fine.
You're technically freelance, mate.
And
we're plugging Racing Post tonight.
That's true. I am
Racing Post Plus.
Technically, I am, a man without country, as it were.
It is. Someone asked me, like, does Ross come to your Christmas parties and stuff? And I said, well, sadly, he doesn't get invited because I'm not technically a Racing Post employee. We'd love to see you there.
I sit at home with my.
You can have my invite next year, Ross. That's for sure, because I won't be going.
I've never seen this gentleman at a social function, and
no, I've got 20 years.
I'm sad about that.
Anyway, I was trying to wrap it all up very quickly, but again, so that's what I was going to say was, I thought great ride on Wellington Arch. Salvatore Mundi finally came of age today. I thought a bit. John Bonn again. I mean, surely Ryanair next year, maybe Jamie Snowden and Dan Skelton winning the Handicap Hurdle. Who knew? But okay, right. We've got plenty to get through, so let's get this ad in now. Okay, all right, we've got Robbie and Tom. We've also got a pre-recorded Keith Melrose in the can. He's going to be taking us through the Smart View, which is the Racing Post supercomputer available on the app, which breaks down the runners at every race into their individual component parts and then ranks them based on their overall number. So we're going to go through the national by each individual component with yesterday's Keith Melrose, starting off with a horse's ability. Over to you, Keith.
So ability is primarily, but not entirely, the weight-adjusted racing post ratings. So the National, Stumptowner and Intense Raffles are your top rateds on RPRs. They're coming out with a 100 score on ability. The interesting one there is Broadway Boy. He actually comes out quite close to top on RPRs. That'll be based on his Coral Gold Cup second. You know, if you fancy Can Do Kids, who's 20 to 1 for the race, you should really fancy Broadway Boy because he's shaped as well as that horse. And the ability measure is telling you that Broadway Boy has that chance.
So why Stumptown and Intense Raffles again? When we talked about it off air, my first thing was, well, surely Hewick is a Grade 1 winner, and there'll be a few others in there that you could make similar cases for. Why are those two top?
Well, in the handicap, it would always be the top weight that would come out with top ability if you did it that way. But weight-adjusted ratings we've known for however long, they are a more useful measure in handicaps especially of that. You know, this is quite a condensed thing on the Grand National because it's a handicap. In a Grade 1, those ability scores will be much more spaced out, reflecting, as you would expect, a wider spread of weight-adjusted racing post ratings.
Okay, so top on the ability score, Stumptown and Intense Raffles, Broadway Boy surprisingly high up. Okay, thank you, Keith Melrose. Right, let's go on to the first race tomorrow at Aintree on Grand National Day. 3 miles the distance here for this handicap hurdle. Jericho de Repenay 6 to 1 with Catch Him Derry also at 6 to 1. Henderson and Skelton in handicap hurdles. Who'd have thunk it? Active Authority 8 to 1. Bo Zenith 8 to 1. Bill Joyce 9 to 1. Timmy Tuesday 9 to 1. Rushmount 12 to 1. Park of Kings is 12 to 1. And then it is bigger prices the rest. You'd be not particularly surprised to hear that Dan Skelton has won this plenty of times recently, 3 times in the past 5 years. Of course, he loves a handicap hurdler, he certainly does. He's also got Nurse Susan in here as well at a bigger price. But it is Catch Him Derry who was third in the Pertemps behind Jericho de Repenay last time over at Cheltenham, behind the tongue-tied Doddy the Great. But this, interesting, because Catch Him Derry was a bit of an eye-catcher, I thought, in terms of, you know, he'd won the trial at Exeter. You don't really want to show your hand when going into the Pertemps, and he rattled home. Never really looked like winning, but came home really strongly late on. But you could say similar comments for Active Authority, who came from the clouds in the Martin Pipe.
Massive eye catcher in the Martin Pipe, and indeed the Twiston Davis horse Push the Button. I thought he was quite eye catching.
Yeah,
there's a lot of different strands of Cheltenham form we're looking at here. I also thought Nurse Susan actually ran better than the result on the Martin Pipe. She sort of went quite hard from the off and then faded. As her first run in the year, she could be better up in trip and first time pieces. But then I thought I found a sneaky one. And then I read Kills' copy, and it looks like he's on the Rushmount train as well. I don't know if you had a good look at Rushmount earlier, Ross.
Well, Johnny,
very interesting profile.
Johnny Pearson was waxing lyrical about this horse.
I often blank out what that fella says, to be honest. So Johnny, if you're watching, sorry mate, I didn't hear. I was listening to anything else going on. Rushmount, yeah. Jonathan Sweeney, not a man you hear in these shores too often. So it's interesting, he's only had 2 runners here the last 5 years. He had a good horse called Rosie's Hollow a few years ago, ran all right at Cheltenham. He's only run 6 times on the rules, very lightly raced. Gave Lecky Watson a scare in a maiden hurdle in November 2023. Hasn't run much since. Bit of an eye catcher, I thought, of the Dublin Racing Festival behind Percival Galois, who was obviously chucked in that race, given an awful lot to do, and he's come out and won with stacks in hand in a week race at Falls. Thurlers, he's off 140. It's a high enough mark, but he's got form on the ground. He could be better than we've seen, I think, and I'd be happy enough to avoid the Cheltenham form lines and take a flyer on Rushmount.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Cause, a couple of things. First of all, like you said, that Leopardstown run, everything else was going up and down on the spot, and he was the only one making ground.
Closing. If you do do you ever did a replay, you sort of fast forward it, and then you can sort of see when one is.
Well, what I like
it's cutting corners, isn't it?
Well, what I like to do, I think the best way is almost to watch the finish and then sort of work it. Like you want to where did they start? Where did they finish? I'm not saying the bit in the middle is irrelevant, but you are looking for the horses who have improved their position, aren't you?
Yeah, and you told me that trick out. Sorry to interrupt. With Thunderball in the Lincoln last year, because you're like, look him. Everything else up the pace is fading. Yeah. Thunderball is still there right at the end.
Well, that's the thing. If the first 5 home all close from the back, the one you want to take out of the race is the one who stayed on the speed for the longest.
100%.
And if the speed holds up, the one you want to take out of the race is the one who went past 3 or 4 late on. So
it really is that simple, my friend.
Well, yeah.
It's an age-old strategy.
The only problem is, does the silly minutes going to work out that way next time out? But yeah, he's off 140. But I was that Thurles race last time out when he won that.
He won that so easily.
I mean, he ploughed through the last. He took his back legs through the last and still managed to accelerate coming out of it, which you don't see very often. He made a mistake and quickened, which was fairly remarkable.
There's an engine there.
It certainly is.
He's just interesting. He sort of reminds me a bit of that Cole de Tourelle. I tipped here on the Pertemps final, very lightly raced. We don't know much about him. Represent a smaller Irish yard coming over. I think he's worth a flyer.
Yeah, all right. Rush mount, 12-1 then. Over to you, Tom Segal. Anything in the opener?
I don't like late headway monkeys myself. I always tend to avoid those ones that people sort of latch onto. I always think they're too short. So horses like Active Authority and Push the Button. I don't like horses to get behind. I just don't. If they run the 3 mile race like they did the 3 mile Novice Hurdle today, it'll suit them down to the ground. But I don't think any jockey goes out with the intention to be way off the pace, not travelling. And that's what I thought those two horses did. So while the form of his second to Woodhoo is clearly very good, Active Authority, but I don't know. He'll need a special circumstances to win, in my opinion. Catching Derry, I don't think will like the ground. I know it was okay at Cheltenham. It was not quite as quick as it's likely to be tomorrow. Jericho de Repene surely going to run well. I thought the other Henderson horse had a chance. Definitely. First time cheek pieces, Ross. Like your Doddy the Great and Jericho Repene at... in the Pertemps, 1-2 for Nicky Henderson in the 3 mile handicap at the Cheltenham Festival. Always think that's an interesting pointer when they run a different horse in a 3 mile handicap at Aintree. And Bo Zenith has been crying out for a step up in trip. He was second. He's been a short head in the juvenile hurdle here when he was a young horse for Gary Moore. He's obviously had a few problems, but I thought he ran perfectly well. First 2 starts, last start, I think ground 2 miles, probably not right for him. I think he might run well in the first time headgear. I get the rush mount thing. He was an eye catcher at the Dublin Racing Festival without a shadow of a doubt. I actually slightly preferred Park of Kings, though, to him of the Irish. I just thought he sort of ran better than Active Authority and Pushed the Button, despite not finishing in front of them in the Cheltenham race. It sort of looked like he tried to win. I'm not saying the others didn't try to win, but they couldn't try to win because of the way they ran, the way they couldn't sort of keep up. So I thought Parker Kings and Bo Zenith would be my 2 against the field.
Okay, thank you very much, Tom Segal. Right, next race at Aintree up in a second. But first, back to you, Keith, for course form. Next up on the SmartView scores, who is top on the course number? Surely I Am Maximus is up there, but I believe it's joint top.
He is joint top. He's got 100 top score. He's won the race last year. He's joint top with the Rocco, who has run at Aintree. He has been placed in a couple of Grade 1s on the Mildmay course in the last couple of years. And also, something that course can do, it often maps courses that have got faintly similar descriptions. So with Rocco, yes, his record at Aintree is the thing that's got him mostly to 100. But his career best effort actually was at Kelso last time. It's another left-handed track, another fairly sharp track. And the system knows to marry up courses with similar topographies like that. Yeah. So I'm not sure how much difference it made to Rocco, but it's another little kicker that gets him to the top on course scores. Yeah,
it might have just edged him up there a little bit, because it's a similar thing to what I'll do when when I use speed figures. People will go, well, every course is different, and it's like, yeah, but obviously I will look when a horse has recorded his best figure, her best figure, either at the track or a very similar track.
Exactly. We know some tracks that match up to each other. I mean, the examples in my head now are from the flat more than jumps, but we can all think of examples of tracks that act similarly.
Well, exactly. And again, or the opposite, if a horse is bolted up at Fakenham and then goes to Ascot, for example.
Oh, it couldn't be, yes, exactly. The system knows these things and marries them up and tries to paint a picture, not using more than just the course that they're actually running at. The National is one thing, but imagine a Novice Hurdle.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guesswork there, and the system has got the intelligence and agility to try and make an educated guess.
All right, so top on the course is I Am Maximus in a Rocco. Joint top. Okay, back to Aintree, day 3, race 2, the Mersey Novices Hurdle here, and it's our old friend Lalamba at 10-11 here, stepping up in trip, taking on his elders, 13-2 Horace's Pearl, Regent Stroll 7-1, Miami Magic 10-1, Cocktail Divin is 10-1, Honesty Policy 16s with Kappa J Pike, at 18s Castle Carrick at 20s, and Bigger the Rest, 4-year-olds. Yeah, fascinating in this. 1 from 29 in this race in particular. We've had 6 4-year-olds running this who are rated 140 plus. The Lamba rated 148. None of them have won. 2 horses who were rated as good as La Lamba came here as 4-year-olds to take in this race. They were Sam Winner and Liberate. They both got beat. We also had the likes of Blazing Bailey and Fran Chuck who ran in this, some old friends in the past. So yeah, fascinating move this from the Henderson camp. Tom, to run in this. I mean, he looks all over a 2.5 miler at this stage. The way he ran at Cheltenham, and obviously he's receiving lumps of weight. He's got a very high rating. He's a very short price, but yeah. I mean, again, the Supreme today really stood up. I think the Triumph's good form as well. Be interested to see if that stands up with the Lamba, but he is a short price.
Yeah, I mean, he's totally different class to those horses you mentioned there, your Sam Winners and your things. I mean, this is a proper horse. This is a Grade 1 horse. They weren't. I think he's just got to jump better, hasn't he? He's just got to jump better. I didn't think he jumped like he did at Ascot at Cheltenham last time. So I think the step up in trip won't be a problem to him. It's just a, fast ground race at a fast track where jumping's going to be key. We see it time and time again we've seen it time and time again today, especially. It's all to do with the way the race is run. Nico probably would like Caliphate Envoi back again in the 3-mile hurdle because went to the front too soon there and got done. I don't know whether I'd back him at 10 to. I hope he wins because I'm looking forward to, we want another real superstar British horse to take on Willie Mullins, really. And he's one of the few that we can put forward as potential. If he does get beaten tomorrow, I think it'll be by an Irish horse. I just think they're miles better in the novice hurdle division over this sort of trip. I think Henry de Bromhead's horse, Cocktail Divan, is a lot better than we've probably seen. He's fresh for this. You can throw out his second run. That was when the de Bromhead horses wouldn't have beaten you or me, Ross. Well, actually, probably would have beaten you. I would have given him a race.
Yeah,
but,
you're surprisingly nippy, aren't you? To be fair to you.
Yeah. So I think he's a chance, and I wouldn't rule out Kappa G Pike, ridiculously named Kappa G Pike, because it's Willie Mullins. Simple as. I thought he could have had the first five winners today, as I said. So Kappa G Pike, I just think he's going to leave that.
I was going to say I watched the new Lion race back last time at Kappa G Pike, and if actually about 2 mile 2, 2 mile 3. He's still on the bridle with all the big names, and he don't quite get home. Admittedly, he gets passed by a couple, but it's a big run.
Absolutely. I thought he ran really well. Sorry, my doggy's going nuts. Someone just knocked at the door. But I think he's got a chance as well. And I think Cocktail Divan is definitely interesting as well.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Get the dog in. See what the opinion is.
Find out who's at the door as well.
Yeah.
We're all intrigued, aren't we?
Absolutely.
No,
Yeah.
it's annoying, isn't it?
Well, you get
on my own. So
this is the thing. We live in a 24-hour society now, Tom. You get delivery. You get deliveries all the time, don't you? So genuinely, knocking at the door the other day about 8:30. Who the hell's this? It's like you've ordered something off Amazon. I was like, have I? But not this time, I haven't. But anyway.
If reasonable lad had held on, it would have been a great big whopping Uber Eats, I can tell you.
It would have been a crate of Halgarten and Novum
curry
wines.
night at the Segal household, I'd like to think.
Okay, La Lamba 10 to 11 up in trip against the Elders.
No,
I mean, you've got to take it on. You've got to take him on. But I won't be surprised if he bolted up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I like horses who win races, and Horace's Pearl's unbeaten. We don't know how good he is. I mean, he won the Grade 2 bumper quite well in this card last season. He won probably a bit of a nothing race at Newbury last time, but did it very, very easily. He's just been carefully working back to this sort of target, whereas I think that's probably a bit of an afterthought for Lamba. He's getting a lot of weight, of course. Could that run have enough? I don't know. I just don't want to take a short price about him, albeit he's a brilliant prospect. Horace's Pearl's still a very good prospect to me. And I'd rather take a chance on him at the prices because he's done nothing wrong. He's a type who just does enough, and I think he could be in for a big run. I'm not saying he'd be good enough, but yeah, I could see him outrunning those odds at least.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was Kappa J Pike was a little bit interesting. I mean, I'm interested to see how
Some name.
Funiculi.
What does it even mean?
I looked at this. It's a Latin name for something, but I can't.
You speak, man.
I know it's a song. It is. It's a song. You can give us.
By
it's Pavarotti.
Anton Guadagno, Luciano Pavarotti, and the Orchestra del Teatro Comunale di Bologna.
Do you want to give us a rendition?
I don't know it well enough, mate. But if we can, during one of Melrose's skits, maybe I can study up.
Yeah, you can study up and get your Pavarotti out. So yeah, interesting to see how he goes. I know he's beaten out of sight in the Supreme, but as today's show, that's a very good race. But like I said, Regent Stroll's got to have a squeak as well, though. I mean, again, the hood on, but first two in the Supreme again. They had the hood on. Times change, as you keep saying, Tom. And I mean, all of his form looks a little bit better after the last few weeks, I think. So I think he's fascinating.
Yeah, he's definitely. I mean, he was my horse to follow at the start of the season. So I still think he's got a huge engine, isn't he? But he just needs to settle. If the hood does that, the thing is, he's going to be ridden differently to Caldwell Potter, and that Harry Cobham's going to have to bury him. I think. I just don't like it. I don't like horses that do think that's going to be the case. But look, the ability's there, and the ability's there. He just won't be the Irish or Lou Bamber. That's the problem.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Okay, right. We'll move on to the next race in just a second. But here's Keith with the distance. Next up, it's the distance on the Smart View, which, of course, in the National is slightly shorter than it was, but it's still an extreme test, Keith. 3 horses stand out in this. Who's top?
The top is 300 through 5, and the other 2 that stand out with him are Beauport and Manila Cocooner. Now, why is I Am Maximus not there? I asked this question myself to the guys that actually do the coding for this. And it's a bit of a quirk of the National itself because it's an extreme and unique distance. The system, the way it's choosing things, is it's picking by horses that have most of their form over these extreme trips.
It's looking for you're a specialist here.
Exactly. Manila Cocoon is a great example. His 2 standout runs over fences over 3.5 miles in last year's Bet365 Gold Cup, in last year's Irish National. Beauport standout run, Midlands National. What's that race? Ascot. There's an Ascot race that he ran in, but I think it's got a name. It's got a national name, but either way, it's the
and also the London Gold Cup, didn't he? Was that as well?
Yes, he's all his forms over extreme trips. Whereas I Am Maximus, he sort of has got punished a little bit for having that form over shorter trips.
Yeah.
The system's going, well, he's not an extreme distances specialist. Yes, he got a score of 90. It's a high score. He's not getting punished here.
Yeah.
But in terms of putting people top of the shop, it's looking at horses that their form is over extreme trips. We're talking, and I think the system thinks anything 3.5 miles and upwards basically calls them all an extreme trip.
So if you're looking for horses to not wilt late on, whether it's for place bets or place spots or whatever, 300 through 5, Beauport and Manila Cocooner.
Exactly, and all 3 of those horses have won or been placed in big marathon prizes, and it's been their best runs as well.
Okay. Okay, let's go on to the 2:30 then. 3 miles and a furlong here for the William Hill Handicap Chase. Registers the freebooter Handicap Chase, in case you're wondering. Imperial Saint 5-1, Peaky Boy 6-1, Happy Go Lucky 6-1, Doc Picked Me is 7-1, Cruise Control 9s, We've All Been Caught is 10s, Lamilos is 11s with Richmond Lake, and then it is bigger prices the rest. We're talking about Aintree horses. Imperial Saint absolutely bloody loves it round here. The question is, will he do it over this trip? It is a big ask, isn't it? It's a big ask to step up from 2.5 against proper 3 mile staying chasers here at Robbie Wilder's. Again, he's got all the talent in the world. I really like him as a horse, but I just feel, wouldn't be surprised if he won, but you've got to take him on.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, for sure his task has been made a lot easier of no Maya Town or Dr. Ken coming out.
True.
And that made my life much harder today, mate, let me tell you, because I wrote the preview for this, spoke about Maya Town for 200 words. Yeah. He's come out to rewrite it, and then Dr. Ken was the horse I angled it on. And now I don't know what's going on because I'm in here. I can't rewrite it, can I?
No.
That's down to the sub-editors.
But I'm sure it was such good copy, mate, as well. It's so
always
good.
clean Robbie Wilder's copy, mate.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
one thing. That's why I got this job.
No fluff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you sort of now I'm trying to come down on a different angle. I'm not sure I'm Imperial Saint really. He does come from a point-to-point background. Trip should be all right. I would have wanted to see a better run from him in the Pendle last time, maybe. Although this is his track, as you point out.
Yeah.
Sam Brown ran well in this last year. Too old, you'd have thought.
Yeah. Because to be fair, there is some quietly progressive horses in here. The one I quite like was Peaky Boy, who.
Okay.
I mean, look, last time out, that Ascot run, I think you apart from the changing man, you can put a line through that race entirely. But you got outstayed at Cheltenham behind Horticolours and Transmission, and obviously they both ran blinders.
No shame in that.
In the not 4 miler.
I think, I don't know about you, but what puts me off about that horse is I just find John Joe O'Neill the hardest trainer to predict. He has had horses, obviously, he had a winner today, and I thought Mr. Megget ran better. I was going to say,
some people, you could say he should have had 2 winners, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly.
If you'd backed Mr. Megget in that Novice Hurdle, you'd have been walking up to the counter, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, what would he hit him running, like 1.04 or something?
Very short, yeah.
But, yeah, I get that angle. I'm sort of scarred from backing horses from that yard. I do get it. I'm going to have to sit it out now. I do respect Cruise Control potentially coming back because he would have been laid out for it. He was a good winner last year. The ground is kind of different, but I'm going to have to sit it out because I backed Mertown. He came out. I backed Dr. Kenny. He came out. Just give up, mate.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah,
I'll get my money back at least. Let's just take the zero balance and move on.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes the universe is giving you a message, mate. So yeah, avoid this race entirely. But yeah, Peaky Boy's been quite well back. I thought Doc picked me as well. Those Doncaster, 3 miles around Doncaster, similar-ish Chester, 3 miles around Aintree. Tom, what did you like in this?
I like my old friends Doc Pickme and Charlie Uberales. I can't quite get why Charlie Uberales is 25-33 to 1 and Doc Pickme is 7 to 1. 2 starts ago, Charlie Uberales beat Doc Pickme, and same weights, nothing different. I know Doc Pickme might have improved a bit last time, but Charlie Uberales ran really well in the Catate Dore. I know it's pulled up by his name, but he was one of the few that jumped and travelled. The ground was way too soft for him. The track was wrong for him. It's a pretty solid horse on fast ground over 3 miles on a left-handed track. He's got very, very consistent form when that happens. So I thought at the prices, I thought he'd run well. I'm very scared of Doc Pickme. I don't like Imperial Saint, and I don't like Peaky Boy, if truth be told. I don't like Peaky Boy. I hated him at Ascot last time because he was a horse I liked. You can throw that out if you like, but he's only, 6-7 to 1. I wouldn't back him at 25 to 1 after what he did that day. Imperial Saint just ran badly last time. And I know it's Kempton and I know he's but he's had a lot of racing this season. And when he comes to Aintree, I like horses that are just going to peak for the day because that's what tends to happen. Happy Go Lucky is one of those for sure because he's only had 2 runs this season, but he's an 11-year-old. Cruise Control just takes a bit of guesswork, doesn't it? You haven't really seen him do anything this season. I think last year he got a perfect ride and the perfect run of the race. So I get why he could bounce back, but for me, I like the Doncaster form. I think it did translate well to Aintree. I think the ground's going to be perfect for both Doc Pickme and Charlie Uberales at the prices. I went for the bigger price one. I know he's a bit out the handicap, but that doesn't bother me.
I'm going to contrary your contrarianism here a little bit, Tom. So you say you're unforgiving.
Okay.
So you won't forgive Peaky Boy.
Yeah.
But Charlie Uberales pulls up and you'll forgive him.
Yeah, but Charlie Uberales ran well. Charlie Uberales was jumping and travelling all the way, and it was on the wrong track on the wrong ground. Peaky Boy did nothing right at Ascot. Nothing. And he's 6-8 to 1? I can't read them. My glasses are going. But you know what I mean? That's why I don't like him. He literally looked horrible from the word go. So that's my reading about horses like that. I don't mind backing him at, if he was 20 to 1, of course you'd say Peaky Boy could bounce back. At 6 or 7 to 1, nah. Leave that one to you, Ross.
No, I don't know what you mean. It's just that it is funny sometimes though how I think we all do it, don't we? A little bit. We say, I don't like this, and then you think, but then sometimes you can kind of tuck yourself in and out of your own borders with that kind of thing. But I understand. I mean, my reading of Peaky Boy a little bit was he'd been going left-handed at Cheltenham. He'd gone to Ascot, had a break, different jockey in a weird race, and I just thought, well, I put a line through that completely. He probably needed it, and it was a completely different track, but. But like you said, I know what you mean. You're not getting rich backing him at 6s, are you? So
not after that run, no. Yeah. If he'd come here without that run, he'd probably still be 6 to 1, and you'd be going, this horse has got loads to go. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But he's come here and he's 6 to 1 on the back of literally he was beating a furlong, wasn't he?
Yeah, that is true.
And changing man, and the other horse came out and won at Newbury, didn't he? So it probably wasn't the worst race you've ever seen, but he looked pretty Larry that day.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. As for the chat, what do we got? Happy Go Lucky, like Ross, that'll win, says Leo. Thank you very much. And as for the rest, my boy Peaky Boy, the Wall Park, and Iron Maximus in an each way patent. Good luck with that one, Mike. Was it you today? I think that did Wellington Arch in the Handicap Hurdle as well. So certainly someone called Mike. Plenty of you out there, to be fair. Right, okay, we'll be on to the 305 at Aintree in a second. But here is more from Keith.
I want to know, Ross. I'm really looking forward to Keith Melrose's next thing. What is it?
Have a guess. Go on, have a guess. Go on, Tommy boy. Have a guess. What do you think it is? We've had
jockey.
All right, let's see if it's jockey. Many people say that the National isn't as much of a jumping test as it used to be, but it's still pretty important to get round without making many mistakes. First off, how does SmartView work out who's top on the jumping statistics?
The jumping metric of SmartView is probably the cleverest one in there because it looks at the in-running comments. The system reads those and it'll read mistakes. It reads not fluent, it'll read hit this. You also get the early ones that say didn't jump with fluency, and it really uses them as a real marker down.
So does it weight those as in, for example, jumped poorly throughout? Would that be heavier than?
That would get a real bad. That would be really heavily marked down.
Yeah.
Only an actual fall on seat would get marked down more heavily.
Yeah.
And these decay by time as well. So a fall on a horse's most recent run hurts its score more than a fall 3 starts ago.
So if you were a 5-year-old novice and you didn't jump very well, but now you're a 9-year-old staying chaser, you're not going to get marked down.
No, absolutely. The horses that have got better as they've got older, and it decays over time. Most of it's the last 3 or 4 starts.
Okay, who's top?
The top is, we've got joints. We've got Mamelka Kuner, Appreciate It, and Twig.
Okay,
now,
two Mullins horses and the Ben Pauling multi-purpose.
Yeah, he's multi-purpose, isn't he? Yes, he is. He's had a lot of runs over hurdles recently. I think the system doesn't take into account hurdles runs when we're talking about chase.
So he's had almost less opportunities recently to make mistakes, as it were.
There is a little bit of that. He's had his last 3 runs over fences. I think the third most recent was when he was second in the Ultima last year, when he jumped nicely out and prominently that day. So he's got less evidence than a lot of these.
In contrast, Manila Kakuna and Appreciate It have been there and been doing it for years in tough races.
Yep.
So basically what it's saying is, if they ever get beat, it ain't because they're making mistakes.
Well, exactly. So there's absence of evidence certainly with Twig, and there's as soon as there's no mistakes getting made, you don't need to get a jumped well all the time. But if a horse isn't said to make mistakes, the system just go, well, it's obviously jumped grand, doesn't he? And it's an assumption that can be reasonably made, because if a horse does make a mistake, you want the comment writer to pick that up.
Okay, so top of the jumping metrics then: 2 Mullins horses, Manila Kakuna and Appreciate It, and Twig. Oh, Tommy Segal, you got it wrong, mate. You got it wrong.
Oh, I'm gutted. What a load of rubbish that was.
Unbelievable.
What, your shout or Keith's analysis, mate?
Terrible shout. Terrible shout.
No, Keith's analysis is spot on, but the jumping thing, people told me before the Gold Cup that Galopin Des Champs was the best jumper you've ever seen, and I know you're thinking was one of the worst. Well, the Race IQ said it was exactly the opposite way around. You cannot tell how horses are going to jump, I don't think, from one day to the next. I've tried it. I've done all the stats. I've been doing it for years, and as soon as I start doing that, the horse I back smashes into every fence. It's so many things that can go wrong.
Well, absolutely.
But I get it. The analysis was good.
Yeah, no, you're right. Look, let's be honest. It's much easier. For example, it's much easier to jump a fence when you haven't got 16 horses in front of you, isn't it? So a horse makes mistakes. Did it make mistakes? Is it not a good jumper, or is it just a lot harder to jump when you're surrounded by horses? But anyway, Vincent said, "How many winners did this system pick today?" SmartView picked the winner of the Topham today. Gentleman to me was top of.
Will you stop mentioning that, Ross? You're doing it on purpose.
Sorry, mate. Sorry. Look. You just look. We're working on an AI type Tom Segal, so.
Okay.
We'll get there eventually. Anyway, the Liverpool Hurdle is up next. A 3-mile Grade 1. Never dull these races. Tiapu is 11-4. Kitzbühel is 4-1. Strong Leader 11-2. Home by the Lead 13-2. Gwenny Mayboy 15-2. The Wall Park 10-1. Hidden Valley Lake 14-1. I'm gonna have to go in again on her. 16-1. Alta Belly, and then bigger prices. The rest including Buddy One, Jatara, Mon Moral, Dashel Drasher, and Sounds Russian. But again, it looks like it's ahead of a market. You've just got to take on, Tom. Elliott's not having winners, and Tiapu wants softer ground. Kitzbühel's it's 2 miles at Gorham Park, up to the 3-mile Liverpool Hurdle. Surely
that's going to win that. That's going to win that.
Well,
That's going to win that.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Because look, any other metric, every single trend or historical analysis or whatever you want to do when you're looking at a race, there's always an asterisk, and it says unless trained by Willie Mullins. So it's insane. But we've got to take him on, right?
No, I'm going to back Kitzbühel.
You're going to back Kitzbühel? All right, okay.
He's going to win easily. Well, listen, I don't think they're very good, the staying hurdlers. I think they're all much of a muchness. If there's one horse that's going to absolutely blow this apart, it's Kitzbühel. The form of his win last time was given a boost of sorts when that horse ran very well to be fourth in the Lossiemouth race. He gave that one loads of weight and absolutely battered it, after which Willie Mullins said, we're definitely going 3 miles, and no problem with 3 miles. It just looks to me like it's running against a load of horses we know how good they are, which isn't brilliant, and he could be brilliant. So I like backing horses like that when he was 5 or 6 to 1, earlier in the day. I like backing horses like that. He might come last, but you got if what I'm saying is that next run down the line, he could be 4-7 to win this race.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I like backing horses that have the potential to blow races apart, and he definitely has it. The big danger for me is not Tihupu, it's Strong Leader, who loves the track. He's totally different at this track than anywhere else. He was brilliant in the race last year. He's not a brilliant jumper, but slightly worried that he'll get behind on the good ground, but he will have been trained for this race all along, so I get it. I think it's between the two, because I thought I was looking for the Wool Park to have a little bit of headgear on or something, because I thought he was just on and off the bridle a bit last time.
Yeah.
And I was expecting him to sort of finish a little bit better than he did. Home by the Lee is possible, that could bounce back, but I didn't see any of the others. Maybe Outer Belly at 3 miles is all right, but I think Kitzbühel or Strong Leader will be.
Yeah, the case for the Wool Park slightly again here is I thought that the Stayers Hurdle was a bit stop-start, and he doesn't want stop-start. I think he was off the bridle because they kept stopping and starting, and what he wants is them to go a good clip. And I'm hoping they do. If you watch, last year's Liverpool Hurdle, they were out on their feet. It's really hard to get. Look at the 3 mile novice today. The two favourites being out of the places at the bottom of the home straight. You wouldn't have called that, and it's a hell of a long way home. So I think it will actually suit the Wool Park more.
Yeah, could do, but you can't say Tihupu's trainer is out of form and not. It's the same thing we're going at.
Yeah, you're right.
Gordon Elliott as well, but yeah.
But again,
yes,
11 to 4 versus 10 to 1. But the other one I was quite interested in was him. Go on.
Sorry, and he's had loads of winners at Wexford or something tonight, I'm told. So it's not just necessary that he's out of form, it's just that his horses aren't good enough, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah, and it's just not dropped right. Like I said, you need a bit of luck, don't you? But I do think Hidden Valley Lake's very interesting. I thought he ran a cracker, and he was the one. He was again similar to the novice last year in this race when they turned into the home straight. He was quite prominent. Looked like he was going to get involved, and then just tired as the two close past him. So I think he's a little bit interesting. But again, there's loads in here. You like one a big price?
Yeah,
Robbie?
I do. I'm not. I quite like Outer Belly. I don't know. For starters,
don't lose faith, mate. Don't lose faith.
For starters, you've got to take on Tihupu, because all we hear forever is this horse needs to be fresh. He needs soft ground. You ain't getting that.
Yeah, he's not getting both. He's not getting either of them.
I think he probably won't. I have a feeling he might not run.
Okay.
A spate of non-runners tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's going to change things from a betting perspective. There'll be Rule 4 on that Kitzbühel selection, sadly, Tom. I get that case completely. He could blow it apart. Everything Mullins is running is mustard at the moment. And just watch back his replays, he looks like he could be top class. I just thought that Outer Belly could go well because I don't think we know, because you look at when he made Boy, right, he's rated £2 higher. They're essentially about the same level of ability from what they've shown so far. And he's 7-8 to 1. Outer Belly is, to be fair, he's come in a bit. But when I looked at it, Outer Belly was sort of the 33 sort of mark. I thought that was worth a flyer because he has looked really good at Ascot when winning competitive handicaps with a fair bit under the bonnet, I thought. Open to improvement over this 3 mile trip. Just been a completely different horse since the pieces have gone on. And he's one that could go well. I was hoping for 4 places, though. You're not getting them.
Not with anyone?
Not with anyone, no.
Well,
maybe
with the
pesky Sky Bet, but
I can say with the one firm that offer have 10 places if you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Randomly.
So it could be one for we can mention now, can't we? Could be one for Bet
Yeah.
Sky Bet paying 4, but it could be one for exchange 4 places. I know you like those tickets, don't you, Ross?
Yeah, well, like I said, sometimes, like I said, it's you can. Sometimes you just about chipping away or weight it towards that side, especially if you think a horse like the Changing Man was a good example today. I was like, I don't particularly fancy him to win, but his place price is based on his win price.
That's it, yeah. I mean, I'm totally saying the same about Altobelli. Do I think he's going to win? No. Do I think he can outrun his odds? Yes, without winning.
Okay. Okay, Tiapu 11-4, Kitzbühel 4. I mean, got the horses. I mean, if Home by the Lead, he's the one horse tomorrow. People need to stop backing Home. He's a good horse, but he comes over here on good ground at Cheltenham and Aintree, and he just gets beaten them all. He's 10 years old. Surely not. But anyway, never mind. He'll probably be completely wrong. On to the National in a second. Okay, come on then. Tom, one more guess. What did you say before? Sorry. What was your previous guess?
I said jockeys last time. It's going to be trainer form this time. It's got to be trainer form. Come on, Melrose. Don't let me down.
Please.
All right, here we go. Especially in national hunt racing, you're not just backing the horse, you're backing the trainer as well. Top of the trainer metrics, I could probably guess one name, but there's actually 3.
That's right.
For this particular race, bearing in mind that the metrics, correct me if I'm wrong, take into account the trainer score in this type of race.
Yes, so every trainer and jockey, which we'll talk about in a minute, they've got a base score that's used, and then that gets subtracted from, added to according to various conditions, things like record at the track, record in this type of race.
Yeah.
So the 3 trainers, we've got a 17 weight eye at the top of trainer because 17 of the horses are trained by either Willie Mullins, Gordon Elliott, or Paul Nicholls.
Okay, so obviously, I mean, the Mullins is obvious.
He's always going to be 100. I think he'll always be 100 now. There was a time when he was actually scoring slightly below 100.
Well, especially because staying chasers were his Achilles heel almost.
They were.
Whereas in contrast,
British handicap chases generally, this is where his score in a British handicap chase, Paul Nicholls and in the Grand National especially, Gordon Elliott can match him.
Yeah, I mean Gordon Elliott. Obviously, even the Goffers of this world. The Thyestes is half Gordon Elliott. There are all those Gigginstown horses.
If this were a 2-mile hurdle, Mullins would be 100 and Elliott would be 97 and Nicholls would be 95. But
so why is so Nicholls is high up because of his record with this type of horse in this type of race?
Yeah, it's British handicap chases, Class 1 handicap. He's the best trainer of a staying chaser there's ever been, and therefore he matches Mullins in this realm still, but as I say, in a 2-mile hurdle, it would be 100 plays 94 or 93 possibly. The system's not just looking at trainers generally, it really gets into the specifics.
Okay, so Mullins, Elliott, Nicholls at the top. Well done, Mr. Tommy Segal. You got there in the end, mate. Look at that. Look at that. That's a man.
First winner of that all week.
Tipster winner. Right, okay, let's get on to the National in 2025. By the way, don't forget you can get all the stuff on Racing Post Plus as well. You can subscribe in particular, if you're watching the show, to the tipping service, which is less than £1 a day. There you go, Robbie Wilders.
Well,
there's £1 back
actually,
for you.
I owe you money, mate, so...
Well, yeah, that's true, yeah.
That.
49 more of them to come. Right, now, the Grand National 2025 is headed in the betting by last year's winner, I Am Maximus. Top weight, 9-year-old, 167 with his mark at 6-1. Iroko, 8-1. Stumptown, 11s. Hewitt, 12s. Percival Legelois at 12s. Manila Kakuna, 14s. Intense Raffles, 14s. Vanillier is 14s. Page 2, please, Mr. Producer. It's harder to say than Percival Legelois. Buddy Wad, no, that's the Liverpool Hurdle.
Come on, fellas.
All right, never mind, we'll keep going now. We've got Can Do Kid.
About Monmoral.
Because he's not going to win the National. We've got Highland in there, Beauport, 3-car Bragg, Meeting of the Waters, Nick Rocket, Grange Clare West, Hitman, Manila Rindo, Appreciate It, there we go. 3-car Bragg, Monbeg Genius, Senior Chief, loads of them. Look, loads of them have got a chance.
You've not even mentioned the winner yet, mate.
I've not even mentioned the winner yet. All right, well, you've teased that, but I'm not... We're not starting with the winner. Grange Clare West, Nick Rocket, 3-5, Monbeg Genius, Senior Chief, Coca Beach, Broadway Boy, Duffel Coat. There's loads
and there
of
he is, Duffel Coat.
You've gone mad. Don't talk about Duffel Coat. He was
because I know he...
Phil Daw, Brave Man's Game, Twig, Stay Away Faye, Royal Pagay, Celeb Delen, Chantry House, and Ida's Boy is the outside a lot, maybe? Horenzo Dairy? Where was he? Is he gone? Is he running? I don't know. Anyway, look, it's a wide open National, Tom Segal. Let's start as you should. There you go, conflated as well in there. Let's start, as you should always do with a race of this nature at a big festival, with last year's race. I Am Maximus. I mean, rarely do you see a horse win a national in that fashion. I mean, he absolutely jotted up. He's only been seen twice, admittedly, in races he had absolutely no chance of winning. But yeah, it's a big ask, isn't it? I mean, it feels to me he's going to run a big race, isn't it? But can he win off that weight?
Yeah, he can. It's a different race, Ross. It's a totally different race. The thing about it is that I Am Maximus is comfortably the worst jumper of any horse in this race. He is a terrible jumper of fences, but it doesn't matter. As we saw in the Topham today, one horse unseated, no horses fell, and the fences come the second circuit are like mini hurdles. So it's all about class and ability for me these days. Can he win? I think he can. Yeah, I do. I think he'll run really well. He won incredibly easily last year. They were all in a line 2 out, and he ended up winning by, 7, 8? And if we'd gone another furlong, we'd have won by 15. And if we'd gone another furlong after that, we'd have won by a distance. So, yes, I'm not ruling him out by any stretch of the imagination. The one thing I would say against him is that last year he got the charmed run. He couldn't have had it go better at any stage. You know, he was on the inside, no horses around him, no horses near him. Jumping, as I say, is not his strong point. And when you're allowed a horse like, if you give that horse particularly the space and no horse to jump, he can get from one side to the other. So it's a different kettle of fish for him today, but tomorrow. But yes, he can definitely win.
I mean, the thing is, though, there's a lot of I Am Maximuses in there, in a sense of, in terms of very talented horses who are off significantly lower weights, are in very good form. I mean, Iroko obviously is just as good ability-wise as I Am Maximus, and is receiving lumps of weight. I mean, Stumptown's, I can say, being a revelation, but he just keeps doing it. Well, it's just that he keeps doing it. He keeps winning off big marks. But in particular, Percival Lagelwa. I mean, his last 2 wins, I've absolutely loved the way he's finished his races. So, and they're just the McManus horses pretty much. So, who else in here has got the ability to win a national, the new type of national for you?
Well, absolutely loads of them. That's the problem. I mean, the thing about the national is that you cannot rule, not in the old days. Well, when I was doing it in my days, you'd had jumping and you had class. Now they're all classy and jumping doesn't matter. Yeah. So it's a lot of it is going to depend on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know exactly what it means. So let's focus again, because let's focus on what is running it's a very long short list, I'm sure. But let's go through short. Let's narrow it down to at least a 6 or 7, and then really chisel that down as well. So what?
Okay. Well, my
cases for a few.
Okay, Iroko. He was the one at the start of the season when I did the Cheltenham preview, and we did a thing like this. He was the one I backed. I backed him at 40, 50 to 1 before the season had even started. I have no reason to think he's not going to run well. Obviously, the form of his second at the track when he split upward, was it? And I know the way you're thinking. Looks incredibly good now. He's been trained for the race. Expect him to go well. Stumptown, I don't like that much, just simply because I'm not sure he's classy enough. I think winning those cross-country races, and he's rated 100 and whatever, 52, 50, whatever he is now. That's quite high, because he was getting beaten in Kim Muir's and stuff the time before that. If you ran him in I can't see him being a Gold Cup horse or anything like that, where I think you probably need to be that sort of class to win it off his sort of weight. Hewick, I think, has a chance because I think the ground has come right and he just wins big races. Slightly worried about Percival Galwa and on the class factor as well. Monella Kakuna is the sort of wise guy horse at the moment. I think he's plenty short enough now. Could see him running well, but the Bet 365, he was beating, Annual Invictus by a nose. So not totally convinced by him. Intense Raffles is very interesting for me. He's my number one choice in the race, I think. People don't like him because of the ground, I'm presuming, and that's why he's gone from favourite to 14 to 1. Totally not convinced that is the case. I think people are very quick to pigeonhole horses as a certain type of horse. And yes, he won the Irish National in a bog, but he travels and jumps like a good horse. He's by the same sire, funnily enough, as Caldwell Potter, Martheline, who people all season have been saying needs soft ground, can't do anything, needs the mud. won 2 races at Cheltenham and Aintree on similar ground to what they'll be tomorrow. So I think people are ruling him out too quickly. I think he has the potential to be a Gold Cup horse. I think he's he won the Irish National very easily last year. Jumps, he travels, he does everything right. Vanillier would be disappointing if he won, because I think he's just a bit of an old lummox. I mean, he's getting better, isn't he, with the blinkers and the back in the over the cross country races. But I don't know about these horses. I mean, the Delta Works and the Tiger Rolls and the Galvins of this world were Grade 1. I mean, he did win a Grade 1 hurdle, to be fair to him, so maybe I'm being too harsh to him. I think Highland has a chance at a biggish price. I think just because I think he's looked pretty good over fences or like the ground, and that was about it. I mean, there's plenty of others, but I can't remember them off the top of my head because can't see them. Move the screen, boys.
I mean, just a quick word on, a couple of words on Intense Raffles. One, he September 2021 beat Iroko at Auteuil in a conditions hurdle. That'd be some forecast for you, wouldn't it? I knew you'd been on France Gallup watching races back from 4 years ago. I know you. But also, just looking at the stats for Isaiah Martley, is just as good on good to firm as it is on soft. So yeah, like you said, he hasn't run under these conditions. Most Irish staying handicap chasers are run on soft ground, so he's just not had the opportunity.
Yeah,
but
also you've got to remember they'll throw water on tonight. They will throw water on tonight because they have to. There's a BHB directive that it has to be run on good to soft ground, so they're going to water it very heavily. Now, I don't think they're going to water it heavily enough to be anything other than it was like today, but that wasn't rattling fast ground by any stretch of the imagination. You know what I mean? So I don't see him having any issues with the ground. I think he's got a very big chance.
Okay, there's a big...
I was going to add to Intense Raffles. He won a 1 mile 4 flat race on French Good to Soft on his debut. French Good to Soft on Art Weekend, that's quick base, isn't it?
Yeah, it's firm, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's tarmac.
So if you're against him for the ground, I'd agree with Tom. Maybe reconsider your position.
Well, look, and a classy young horse who won last year's Irish National it was last year's winner. In terms of
the Bobby Joe is like the trial, isn't it? Ireland,
yeah.
Like.
Well, look, you've got and this is the thing. It is a different rate, and I mean, just in staying chasers in general, if you've got a young horse who has proven they stay the trip, it is worth its weight in gold,
Absolutely.
isn't it?
He is pretty unexposed still.
Yeah. So do you think because you're right, because he's suddenly become, I mean, we're looking at Antipo's favourite, he's now what, 8th in the betting?
Yeah,
7th in the betting?
that's a wild drift, isn't it? He's becoming much more interesting now for sure, because I sort of overlooked him because of his price initially, and maybe our good friend will have moved the market a little bit now. He's tipped him up.
No, I don't move the market in the
To be
national.
fair,
I can't
actually,
move the market in the national.
How can anyone do that at a Grand National? There's just too much going on.
I'll have 500 grand on this. Not moving it.
And
not moving
Intense Raffles isn't like a sexy name either, is it?
No, absolutely. Look, unless there's some people maybe have gone to some interesting working men's clubs and been to 1 or 2 intense raffles in their time. I don't know. But I've had I've played some rough bingo.
What's the sexy name this year that's going to
get backed?
Free Card Bragg. Kind of stylish, isn't it?
Duffel coat.
Hitman.
What was that? What was that one? Tom?
Duffel coat. Duffel coat.
Yeah, that's like a
They're
cute
like
one,
that.
isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I think Nick Rocket's a good one as well, because he sounds like a superhero. He sounds like a bit like people. Oh, I'll back him. Nick,
yeah.
you're a bit of a rocket.
People are going to see Twig as well and think that sounds a bit silly.
Yeah.
But anyway, this isn't for us to debate.
I like it. I like it. Maybe, but. What?
Oh, well, then I want to know what Mr. Wilder's fancy.
I know. I'm trying to. I'm going to.
Yeah, I thought you'd never come to me.
No, I'm trying to. I'm trying to come to you, but we've gone on to raffles and.
Yeah. Since I've been wanted to back Candu Kid after he won the Coral Gold Cup, but I thought this is probably a bit too far out to have a Grand National bet. I left it, and he's come in a bit, but I still think he's a backable price. He ran really well on the Topham last season, as we know. He's staying on really well into 3rd. Got form over the fences. He took that up a notch, obviously, in the Coral Gold Cup, won that really well, I thought. And maybe you could have expected a bit more from him in the Great Wood Gold Cup, but that was just a prep. His season has been all about 2 days, as Nichols has said for months, and various news stuff we've been running over the last weeks and things like I think he's very interesting. And I'm going to give a shout out to Kills because we were at the pub last Wednesday for Dave Lowe's Leaving Do, and he just made a brilliant case on Beauport, and I thought, I'm not going to nick that shout, but you are sort of tempting me in.
Yeah, well, but he fits it. I'm pretty sure we were talking about horses having preps over hurdles for races like this as well. Didn't want to. I can't remember the horse now, but there was definitely one at Cheltenham that. No, Jazzy Matty, of course.
Jazzy Matty, yeah. And Transmission. He didn't win, did he? But,
Transmission as well, yeah.
But yeah,
because Beauport's really. Because I remember us having a conversation about this horse, Tom, and thinking and saying, oh, they're running maybe these marathon trips. He travels and he doesn't quite get home, and then it suddenly clicked, and he's turned into a proper stayer. He's another one that I'm on the class. I say on the class angle, but then he's finished placed in graded hurdles on his last couple of starts, and that's a completely different kettle of fish. I mean, if he'd have finished 5th, 6th, 7th in those and used them as preps, that's one thing, but he's run absolute blinders.
I don't fancy him at all. I don't know why I don't fancy him, but I just don't. I don't think he's good enough. I think he's had a hard season. I don't know. He's not for me at all.
What was Keels' case?
Keels was saying to me. Oh, sorry, mate. Keels was saying, he was like, right, there's a horse in this field that's 33 to 1, and he's been placed in a grade 1 over hurdles and a grade 2 over hurdles, and he won his last chase by 31 lengths on good ground. Why is he 33 to 1? Because he's not Irish trained. And he said Beauport. And I thought, yeah, I mean, he's got the profile of certainly not a 33 to 1.
But he's still 33 to 1, Rob.
No, he's 25.
He's still 33 to 1, isn't he? That's my issue with it.
25's on the quotes I'm looking at, mate. But I mean, that's not much of a change, is it?
It's hardly a move, is it? It's hardly a move.
Nah.
Look, you'll have some people called Nick who've been to an intense raffle and had a glass of port, and then there'll be money for him, I tell you. We should mention as many as we can, really. Obviously, what else was in your 5 or 6?
Yeah, duffel coat a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought duffel coat might be in yours, judging by the fact that you were on him.
Yeah, but I think the pain of last time out.
Too much for you.
It has kind of hurt me a little bit. Look, he's another one of those also. He's still a novice, but he's really experienced. He loves good ground. He was brought down last time out. Apart from until that point, he had jumped every single fence perfectly.
Where do you reckon he'd have finished if he? We don't know.
At least second or third.
I thought so. Yeah, and he was off top weight there in a competitive hand, giving weight to good horses like Horticolor. So I thought he could go well.
He was a whisker away from winning a Galway Plate last year.
Exactly. He's got some good form. He just needs good ground. If Tom's right about absolutely drenching the track, then that's not good news for him. But he's 66 to 1. So
yeah. I'm just going to talk about Percival Legelwood because. He's got good numbers. He's got an interesting profile. I mean, he's experienced, but he's only 8. He's ridden by Mark Walsh, trained by Gavin Cromwell. What I like about him, that the Leopardstown race that he won over fence, the penultimate race, Tom. I watched that back again, and they went a mad gallop. 3-car Bragg kicked out as if he was going for the Nunthorpe, and everything. He just broke every of those. And this one fell away. This one fell away. This one fell away. Percival Legelwood just. I mean, he was a classic. The further he goes, the better he looks. And I watched that replay back, and I thought, "Crikey, that's a national horse. If he gets anywhere near the second or third last, I know for a fact that he is not running on fumes."
No, he'll definitely stay the trip. He's got the traditional. He's Manila Times, isn't he? He's Manila Times he's got the same colours, and that's what he is. Whether this is a better race than that, I don't know. But yeah, because Gavin Cromwell, Mark Walsh, JP McManus, in a big handicap chase, I think he's the one of his 3 I would like the most. I would throw in as well Meeting of the Waters. I know people are going to laugh at me, but I just think there's something about the way he's being campaigned, and there's something with Danny Mullins jumping off Magnella Kakuna to ride him. There's just something that makes me think he's going to run well. Now, last year it looked for all the world like he didn't stay. I've been here before with Mullins horses, and they've completely flummoxed me, and come out and run well. I think the drier the ground, the better he is. It's going to be a lot drier. I think he'll get a lot further than he did last year, and he was in front, basically jumping the last. So I think he's a crack in each way there.
Well, the interesting thing about him, Tom, was last year he had to have a tough campaign to get into these races, didn't he? Whereas now he's on that mark, so they could wipe the slate clean, start the season all over again, and aim specifically for this race. So he is fresh as a daisy in comparison.
Yeah, and I was watching the telly today, and Willie went through his runners, and I just felt that this was the one that he had a little glint in his eye about. He was trying to gloss over all of them as quick as he could, but he couldn't help but say, I think this one's got a big chance, and that he's a totally different horse. He's a much more mature horse now than he was last year, so wouldn't rule him out. The drier the ground, the better it is. When I said they're going to water it, I still think it'll be decent. I mean, it's not going to be soft by any stretch of the imagination, but I think the sunnier it is, the hotter it is, the drier it is, the better his chance. And I could see him running well too. Yeah,
okay. Shout out to everyone. If you're in the chat, I mean, Foxes says they've almost given a mention to every horse. And then Thomas Burrell says, you'd kick off if they only spoke about two. Fair play. It's the Grand National, Foxes. It's the Grand National. Of course we're mentioning about nearly every award. If they've all got a chance, we're giving them a case. That's the whole point. Nick Rocket for Jason S. Beauport didn't beat much, says Rob Dixon. Stumptown should be fave, says Off-World. Manila Kakuna is the best bet for Alan Davies. Duffel Coat for Z.B. Rogan is a decent long shot. What else have we got? A couple of people mentioned Hitman. I mean, if Hitman won a national...
No.
I mean, I genuinely believe the world would turn it inside out on itself.
Yeah, he's one of those. There's about 5 or 6 here you'd be absolutely stunned if they won, like Field or...
But can you imagine, Hitman goes, all this time ago, Hitman doesn't want to win, and he goes, no, I was just waiting for the national, mate.
Yeah, hold himself back for the big day.
Saving myself.
Rob and Ross, what about Brave Man's Game running really well?
Well, so this is if I told you a few years ago that, 2 years ago, if I'd said to you, in 2025, you'd have to scroll down to number 13 on the race card, and he'd be a Brave Man's Game would be 50 to 1 in a Grand National.
Exactly.
You said I'd gone mad.
Exactly.
I prefer him. I think I prefer him in the Topham. I don't see him getting home at all.
No, but it's Brave Man's Game at 52. I mean, it's a fascinating fact that he's even running in the race.
It's a bit like Conflated's 100 to 1. He's a class angle as well. Like he's running off 157.
Yeah.
And like he's got a. He's not.
Brave Man's Game was really good, wasn't he?
Well, I mean, he was saying about class angle.
To be fair,
yeah. He's beaten Galopin des Champs in a down Gold Cup. I mean, he was proper good. He was.
Yeah. No,
you know what I mean?
You're absolutely right.
He was up there with one. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I'm saying. If he happened to just be back at his very best, he's I don't know. He'll be cantering, won't he?
Yeah.
Whether he gets home is the right answer, Robbie. But you never know.
I don't know if he's had breathing issues as well. Tom got the tongue tie and stuff on.
One more for you as well.
Yeah,
so who's the missing horse here? First, Galopin des Champs. Third, Factor File. Fourth, I Know the Way You're Thinking. Fifth, Monty Star. Seventh, Hewick. Eighth, I Am Maximus. Ninth, Miller Kakuna. That was the Irish Gold Cup. Not bad form, is it?
Grange Clare West. Yeah.
Grange Clare West. In second. Again, that was his first run of a stage trip on good ground for ages. He's obviously had a spin last time out at Navan just to keep him sweet for this. Because 2.5 miles in that race was never.
El Fabiano would have franked that form if he stood up as well.
It's certainly possible.
We'll never know.
Yeah, but Gentleman de May was fourth.
That's true. Yeah, it's just the Webster Cup. It's just pay no attention to what happens in that race because they're all just, apart from Seneca, obviously.
Yeah, Seneca was like, this is it.
Yeah, so none of these geezers want to win.
Anyone? Yeah. What's it coming past?
I'll take it.
All right, okay. Right, I tell you what. Right, let's narrow this down then. Robbie, your
shortlist.
Your shortlist. Your top 4.
I'm not even
Not necessarily in any order, but what?
Yeah, the Vanillier. I don't even mention it.
You haven't mentioned Vanillier. You're Vanillier's biggest fan.
Yeah, I love Vanillier. I mean, Sean Flanagan wound me up big time by what happened across country.
He had a mare.
Yeah, he had a mare. He's in the top 4. Can Do Kid for obvious reasons. Duffel Coat, just for one at a mental price, and Beauport because to be honest, I just thought Kid was made a brilliant case, and I'm going to nick it off him. But he's not my main pick. Yeah, What's yours, man?
Well, no, give us your 4. What's your 4?
Yeah. Vanillier, Can Do Kid, Duffel Coat, Beauport.
Okay, you've made good cases for them, so that's fine. And Tom, your 4 for the national then.
Intense Raffles, Highland, Iroko, I Am Maximus.
All right, okay. I'm going to go for Iroko, Percival Le Gaulois, Beauport, and Grange Clare West.
Ho ho. Do you know Grange Clare West? one day in his novice days, you thought this could be a real top notcher. So
he's a grade one. He's a grade one winner. He's like Iron Maximus. He's a grade one winner. He's unexposed in these kind of races. He's 9 years old. He's not a spring chicken by any stretch, but he's barely raced.
I get it.
So he's got the class angle as well. So okay, there's the 4. I tell you what, we're going to skip Keith's last one, which was jockey, because we haven't got time. So if we've got the Smart View,
Punters will be fuming.
What's that?
The punters will be fuming. That's the best part of the show, not us. It's Keith Melrose is punting pointers. Get the jockeys on.
Oh, Tom, no, we're going to ignore the jockeys. We're going to get the Smart View angle. You're going to get the Smart View 4 for the National. Here we go. What about the overall then? Taking all that into account, again, you don't need to be top of the pops in all of them to top the metrics. So who sneaks it for Smart View in the National?
Well, that's it. We've mentioned his horse already, but he was only top in one category. His key was he's not got any weak points. It's actually, I was shocked by this. I thought it would be Iron Maximus because Smart View has got a tendency to go for previous winners of races, but it's not a bad bias to have.
Yeah.
I was reading recently that 80% of weather forecasts are assuming tomorrow will be the same as today. You know,
I guess that's, but it's like everything. The best with Cheltenham, the best place to start is last year's race.
Exactly.
It's the same thing as it's not gonna. You've got to find the anchor point, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I thought Iron Maximus would be top for that reason.
Yeah.
He's second.
Okay.
Top is a bit of a surprise to me. But it's a horse that I thought might run well at a price anyway before I saw these figures, and it's 3 under through 5, who is well handicapped compared to, he's been second, beaten a nose by Victorino, proper Ascot specialist in a Premier Handicap at Ascot last time. Top trainer, Paul Nicholls. Yeah. Harry Skelton, you know how well he's riding. He's scoring high on the jockey.
Stays all day.
His distance record, he's been placed in a Scottish National. He's got all that form of extreme trips, and he's a very good jumper. He gets 90 on the jumping score. It's one of the highest.
So he has no negatives.
There's no reason not to back this horse.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm surprised he's 66 to 1 in most places and all that. Whereas, yes, I can sort of see him finishing 3rd or 4th rather than winning, and he's not a sort of sexy one for win purposes. But he's got a lot going for him for a 66 to 1 shot, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he does. I mean, I'm maybe a little surprised he's top, and with a couple of things going the other way, he might not be.
And we're going to do National 1, 2, 3. So the 1, 2, 3 for Smart View is 3 under through 5.
Iron Maximus and Highland. Yeah, Highland comes in. Henderson scores very high on trainer metrics. De Boinville scores high because of his record riding for Henderson.
Yeah.
And he's quite high at top on RPRs. So with those 3 going for him, and not a lot bad in terms of the other metrics, it gets him quite high.
Okay, there we go then. Smart View, check it out now on the Racing Post app. All right, that's the National then. We've mentioned most horses, but that's the point of a preview of the big race. So good luck with what you go for tomorrow. Stumptown Nick Rocket for Off World. My 4, where are we? I literally just had it right in front of me. My 4 for Ian Macy, Hewick, Highland, Stumptown and Vanillier. Put your bets on as early as possible. That is also a good shout. Put your bets on as early as possible before that percentage goes mad. Okay, the Maghull Novices Chase. Let's rattle through the last 2 on National Day then. 6 runners, 2 miles. The Arkle form being tested. Robbie Wilders.
Yes, mate.
Will it throw up the winner, and if so, which one?
No. Caliph de Burley. Been sweet on him for a few days now. I'm very encouraged by this sort of mini resurgence that Nichols been having. Cobden right out his skin. Just thought those 2. The Arkle form looks a little bit muddling to me. Caliph de Burley, we don't know exactly how good he is. He's had quite a light campaign. Draw line for the City Isles, bad ground, 2.5 miles. I mean, that form's obviously worked out pretty well anyway. And just coming back to 2 miles, spring ground, he looked really, really good in his first 2 runs over fences, I thought. Admittedly, after he fell in the first, so maybe the second and third. But I think there's a bigger performance in him, and just the fact that he missed Cheltenham and he's bigger price than the other 2 swings it in his favour for me.
All right, okay, there you go. Caliph de Burley against the Arkle form. Tom?
No opinion really, Ross. I get what Robbie's saying there about the Arkle form looking a bit ropey. Don't know. Caliph de Burley looks plenty short enough though, doesn't he? 9 to 4. He's nearly fab now, isn't he? Touch Me Not ran terribly in the Arkle, didn't he? I thought he'd run well. I think Special Cadeau could run a bit better than people think. Flatbred horse by Nathaniel. made his debut last time over fences and was just a weird place to run him. So maybe he's been showing Henry de Bromhead's pretty good with 2 mile chasers. So wouldn't rule him out running well, but not a race I'm that interested in.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, Rattle Around Thurles on good ground will set him up nicely for tomorrow, won't it? And then finally the bumper. El Kairos is 5-1. Mossy Fen Road 11-2. Green Splendor 6s. Le Labo 8s and 10-1. Bigger the rest. Then Tom, you love a bumper. Let's give an angle for the last on Grand National Day, please.
Yeah, I don't know how good the Cheltenham bumper was. I mean, everyone's telling me it was terrible. So maybe it's worth taking on El Kairos on that. I don't know. It's hard to tell. There's been nothing really come out and run for it. I thought Scope to Improve had a chance for Henry de Bromhead, Rachel Blackmore. Did they win this once? Or they won the Mayor's one, maybe. It's the type of interesting runner for a top stable that you're sort of not expecting. He's won both his races, and he was quite impressive. Where was it last time? I can never remember these things. Nace last time. Don't know if the form's any good, but it's top stable, big price. Who knows?
All right, okay. A couple I thought were a little bit. I just watched a few replays back. Storming George, Neil King won this with the same connections with Look Away a few years ago.
Yeah.
It was a barroom brawl, that Doncaster race, and he pulled away really nicely. And Destination Dubai, I thought, won really easily at Warwick. Again, just looked like he was making heavy weather of it, and then just coasted to the front, ears pricked. Quite liked it. So there's a couple of bigger prices.
Yeah, I'd
probably.
look at Destination Dubai as well. He's type 2 underestimated because of his connections.
Yeah.
I thought the Skelton horse was interesting. Quaviste as well. He beat a subsequent very easy winner. I thought he did it with more in hand than the neck winning margin suggested. I just feel like because it's such a big yard, they could have fired any number of horses at this race and they picked him, so that must be worth something. And he's double figure odds. That'll do.
That'll do. Thank you, Mr. Wilders. Okay, nap of the day on Grand National Day then. Well, I tell you what, let's combine the two. Most likely Grand National winner and the nap in one. Well, in two. Tom Segal, there's 2 for tomorrow.
Intense Raffles and Intense Raffles.
Okay, intense raffles it is. Robbie Wilders.
Vanillier, my friend, and Can Do Kid.
All right, okay, you're going for both in the national as well.
Oh, actually, no.
I was going to say your national selection and your nap on the rest of the card.
Oh yeah, forget that. Caliph de Ballet.
All right, okay. Fair enough. I'll go for Percival Le Galois in the national and.
Come on. You had a couple of good angles earlier, mate.
I know, but it's hard to choose at the end. It's hard to choose at the end, isn't it?
Some of us got trains to get on.
I know. All right. I can't think of any of the horses we talked about.
You can have La Lamba.
The War Park.
The War Park.
Yeah, an old friend.
The War Park.
An old enemy.
Right. There we go. Lovely stuff. Right. Okay. Let's go home, shall we? And prepare for the Grand National. Thanks everyone for watching. If you haven't done so already, like, subscribe, and thanks for watching this week. We'll see you in a few weeks, where we'll be back for the Jumps finale. So see you then. Goodbye.